you can hear me. Because the other day I had some audio issues. We're about to check. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. All right. I think everything's working. I hope everything's working. And I will tell y'all now that we are for another Ring of Honor TV review. I said last week that this would be a very busy week for me. And you know what ROH did? They said, hey, we know you got a busy week. We're going to give you an extra episode to have to discuss. Because, yes, we have two Ring of Honor episodes to discuss this week. Episode number 132 from Honor Club and a YouTube special. It did not help them that this was airing the same time of SmackDown, which this is one of the rare weeks that SmackDown felt must watch for several reasons, and it was a good episode overall. Also, the same time as the Kansas City Chiefs and LA Chargers game in Brazil, that was also free on YouTube. So, a rough time to choose to upload this special YouTube special. Nonetheless, we're here to discuss both of those, as well as some of the things and notes from Death Before Dishonor this past weekend. We got a crap ton of things to go through. Let's just try to go ahead and get it done. We'll start off with talking about some of the Death Before Dishonor notes. I don't really like review. I don't mind reviewing the pay-per-views, but the way that I watch the ROH pay-per-views is I sit back, I enjoy the show, I don't take any notes. If there's something of note that happens, I will obviously discuss it on the TV review like we're doing here. And going into the show, I was not the most thrilled about it. And I will at least admit, coming out of the show, I didn't really look at it negatively. And overall, very weird-ass show to review and to look at it through because they had technical issues on Honor Club and ended up streaming the pay-per-view on YouTube, and people that pay for Honor Club will get a free month due to people that might have been signing up just to watch the show. So that conundrum kind of threw this show in a loop because, hypothetically speaking, we were getting the show for free. Now, we'll also mention, I'm obviously an Honor Club subscriber. I have been for a long-ass time. I didn't really have any issues. I don't think I had any issues, if I'm being honest. I did transition it to the YouTube version because I felt that if I did have the issues, I would avoid it. But I don't know what these issues were exactly. But not really my problem. It's not really a problem anymore because it was a whole last week ago. Now, I'll also say, I said I would automatically give the show a thumbs up if we got new six-man and tag team champions, and the show earned a thumbs up, kind of. We did get definitely new six-man tag team champions with Shane Taylor Promotions, the Infantry, and Shane Taylor. Congratulations to them. They have been the most consistent act in Ring of Honor the past couple of months. They've got so many members in their group that almost every week a member shows up or at least competes. And this week we have them celebrating their title win and Trish Adora competing. So good for them to be six-man tag champions, and it makes a lot of sense. Now here's where it gets weird. Sammy Guevara and Roosh are the Ring of Honor tag team champions. Now what makes this weird is 2 weeks ago when they made the announcement that the titles were quote-unquote vacated, or more so there'd be matches at Death Before Dishonor to determine who would be the next set of champions. I tweeted my suggestions. I hit the nail right on the head with the six-man tag titles because Shane Taylor Promotions won. My suggestion for the men's tag team champions was Roosh and Dralistico. And I said, if needed, if you need a TV champion or an interim TV champion because Nick Wayne is out, we haven't really gotten any update on that, but the story was that he's not supposed to be out that long, that they don't need an interim champion. Fine. I suggest to be some more stuff. Regardless, Sammy Guevara and Roosh are the tag team champions. I don't really know how to feel about it. I'm kind of okay with it because I I do enjoy Roosh, and I think that he should do well here. Sammy Guevara, I feel, has an intriguing fit with LFI, but I would at least give it a chance. If it is something that I feel it is not working, etc., we could tell, but at least it's something that I'm willing to give a chance. And more so, it's something a little bit different. Granted, we're still getting the Sammy Guevara tag title run. Granted, he's been tag champion for over a year. Granted, he's technically a two-time champion because the title is quote-unquote vacated, however you really want to look at that. It's kind of a Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, freaking, what is it with the Rhodes of these tag champions? But it's kind of like Cody Rhodes, Hardcore Holly, Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase Jr. situation. But I digress. We did get new champions at Death Before Dishonor with those that I just noted. I also went into the show saying that it will be a hard carry job for Bandido. And what I meant by that is the thing people are looking forward to the most, the thing I'm looking forward to the most, is the Bandido match because he delivered at Supercard of Honor, and once again he did so at Death Before Dishonor against Techacero in a very good match. So, good there. And the show ended with another Athena successful women's title defense against Mina Shirakawa, assuring what we have to open up. And it's kind of the big point of these two episodes of Ring of Honor is Athena's 999th day, 1000th day, and now we are into our 1001 day as Ring of Honor Women's Champion. And we started off episode 132 on HonorClub with Athena versus Dayami. Again, this is from Thursday, day 99 of the title reign, and it is a proving ground match that does not really matter because Athena puts a beating on this woman and wins the match off of a Koji clutch. I have covered almost her entire reign as women's champion. I kind of exclude the first 2-ish months because she was competing on AEW Dark because they didn't have ROH TV yet. But I've covered almost like 95% of her reign. I'm grateful that she has been champion for this long, and it hasn't really gotten stale, and we've gotten different things out of it. There is a great tribute video that they made honoring this title reign, and the highlights of it brings back memories because we've created a lot and seen a lot from Athena during this time, and I'm intrigued to see what the hell else we can get next because it's been good. It's been great thus far. So congratulations to Athena for holding the Ring of Honor Women's Championship for 1,000 days. And we'll see where this brings us on. And I recommend that you watch that tribute video that I discussed because you could probably find it. Next, we get Blake Christian and Lee Johnson taking on Thomas Hylam and Joe Alonzo. And Blake Christian and Lee Johnson now have a tag team name, and they are collectively known as Swirl, which I feel that I will just respond to them as Christian and Johnson. Alonzo and Johnson start the match with Christian landing a big dropkick in the corner once he tags in, and then Johnson and Christian win the matchup off of a double stomp into a Spicoli driver. Next matchup was very fun and very good, that being Wheeler Yuta versus John Silver. There's no code of honor with thunderous chop exchange following early on. We see Silver throwing Yuta into the barricade on the outside and landing kicks in the corner. Then back to the outside they go with Yuta doing a dive and Marina Shafir doing a judo toss to John Silver once the referee's back is turned. At this point, the rest of the Dark Order come out to take care of their partner in Silver and John Moxley. Second time in a short time period comes out to even the odds because now it's 3-on-3, and he plays a major factor at the end of this match as well as the other people on the outside. Yuta applies a single leg Boston Crab that has transitioned into a Silver crossface, and then everyone on the outside starts to brawl. While Silver is distracted by this, Yuta lands a Busaiku knee and picks up the victory, with the crowd being very into it. And a lot happened, and I will say that was probably the best thing from episode 132. It's not really the best thing to say because we have 4 other matches to talk about. Next is Lance Archer versus Marcus and Adam. It's hard. Oh, I knew I was forgetting something. I talked about last week that one of the matches that aired was over a month old. So much so, it was taped before All In. That really pissed me off. I don't, it wasn't anything that special. It's just, I don't really want to see it. It obviously didn't matter that much, regardless. This week, on episode 132, these matches are everywhere. We got matches from the 2300 arena. We got matches from before Forbidden Door, after Forbidden Door. It was all over the place. So, I guess with it being a little bit more of a organized chaos, it didn't matter as much, but it's something to make note of. Now, speaking of organized chaos, Lance Archer versus Marcus and Adam. I couldn't get their last names because it's hard to know because Archer drug them down to the ring and the commentators just mentioned their first names. And Archer, like always, puts on a dominant performance and wins with a blackout. We get a recap of the tag team title matchup, and the main point of this was that people thought Sammy Guevara's tag partner was going to be one of the Von Erich brothers or Chris Jericho, and it ended up being none of them. It ended up being Roosh. And the Von Erichs were upset at A, losing their six-man tag team titles, and B, Sammy Guevara not picking one of them and aligning with Roosh and kind of sort of breaking up the Sons of Texas because we don't know when Dustin Rhodes will be back, and so they are mentioning how pissed off they are at Sammy Guevara and the whole situation. And they call Sammy a snake and that they are coming for him. So we got a developing situation going on there. As the next matchup is Angelico and Serpentico versus Philly Collins and Marino Tangilili, which is a very weird name to say, but I think that I got it. Angelico and Tangilili start the match off with Serpentico tagging in and getting hit. Serpentico is hit with a bulldog into a knee by Collins and Tangilili. Boom. But then he retaliates with a double DDT onto both of them, tagging in Angelico, who leads their team to victory with an ankle lock for the win. Next matchup, Jordan Oliver versus Katsuyori Shibata, which ended up being an okay match. Shibata targets the left arm of Oliver early. There is a chop exchange with Shibata getting the upper hand on this. He goes for the corner drop kick with Oliver landing his own, and then is followed by a side kick. Shibata lands the corner drop kick eventually and applies a slipper hold and a penalty kick to pick up the victory. So now we have our last matchup from episode 132, Ari Daivari and Tony Nese versus Hologram and Tomohiro Ishii, which is a matchup that also happened at Death Before Dishonor. So a bit of a rematch here as I'm trying to apply a match for y'all, and I'm a good multitasker. Let's go check the audio while we're already doing three different things. We're going to AEW Dark. Let's go check the audio. Premier Athletes versus the Conglomeration. Nese and Hologram start the match off with a very fast-paced start once Hologram lands some Hurricane Ranas. Daivari has a hard time getting Ishii off of his feet. Hologram ends up tripping or trapped at his opponent's corner. We get a Spanish fly to Tony Nese, with Mark Sterling causing a distraction and Daivari hitting the magic carpet ride off of the top rope for a close 2 count. Then Mark Sterling once again gets evolved and pushed off of the apron, which plays into something a little bit later, with Ishii landing a lariat and Hologram hitting a rope walk 450 splash to pick up the victory for Hologram and Ishii. So, that was episode 132. Following a pay-per-view, much of nothing, which sucks. Now, we will talk a little bit about next week's episode because they did give us a hint at what to expect, but I'll save that for the end of this review because we have another episode to talk about, the YouTube special from September. I believe today is the 6th, so yesterday was September 5th. I don't like talking about the YouTube specials because they don't label. Sometimes they label them, sometimes they don't. And I don't, when I do the titles for the reviews, I don't use the dates. I use the episode number, so it makes it a little bit difficult, but I think that y'all understand them in the grand scheme of things. So we have 10 more matches to go through. Let's get right into it. With the first matchup being the Frat House versus the Kingdom and AR Fox. We got oh Jesus, I combined it. A hot start as Taven dives onto the pledges on the outside. Vance and Bennett are the first two legal competitors. Jack Jameson distracts Taven, leading to the rest of the Frat House attacking him. Fox tags in, delivering a corner drop kick into a rolling cutter and a foot stomp on the apron. Carter misses on a 450 splash, with Fox landing his own 450 splash, leading to AR Fox and the Kingdom picking up the victory. Now, speaking of six-man tag teams, the six-man tag team champions, Shane Taylor Promotions, are celebrating post-Death Before Dishonor with their champagne, and they're happy. The infantry members are happy. Shane Taylor's happy for the infantry members because they deserve this. But he's not that happy because this is shit. He said shit that he expects, and that he and they are on their way to lead us into a new ROH era. Tony Nese and Ari Daivari are here again. This time around, they're taking on Angelico and Serpentico, which is a matchup that has happened dozens of times, I feel. These two teams wrestle a lot on ROH. That's the best way to put it. Now, I mentioned how Mark Sterling got knocked off of the apron in the main event of the last episode, and he ended up hurt from it and might need surgery and is here in a sling. And he has a plan to solve this quote-unquote problem. Nese and Angelico start the matchup off. Nese is tripped up several times. Serpentico is trapped in his opponent's corner. He is able to land a sliced bread for a 2 count. Sterling is involved again, and I hate the way I'm going to describe this, but it is the best way. It's the easiest way to describe it, and it's also the way the commentators described it. But a tall figure, a tall woman, approaches the ring and delivers a massive chokeslam to Serpentico, and the Premier Athletes pick up the victory, as this is now the Premier Athletes contingency plan, and she is named Starry Delani, who I don't know if you can officially say she's in the Premier Athletes. They did ask, and they just kind of stood there. So we get a new added wrench, a new added factor to the Premier Athletes, which I'm okay with because I felt that we kept getting the same thing out of the Premier Athletes over and over again. So doing something a little bit different with them might be a little bit interesting. We got back-to-back Pure Rules matches up next. Rachel Ellering taking on Deonna Purrazzo. Rope break number 1 by Ellering is via her trying to escape Purrazzo. I hit the wrong button. And then it froze on there. Deonna continues to target the arm of Ellering, which uses up Ellering's second rope break attempt. Ellering uses her other arm to deliver forearms. Deonna uses her first rope break attempt, escaping an Okada roll. Then she is hit with a boss woman slam by Ellering that gets a 2 count. Fujiwara armbar by Deonna in the middle of the ring leads to Deonna picking up the victory. I also did not mention this, and it's something that I should have mentioned, but this is the perfect time to actually mention it, because it's been hyped up at least since February. I feel maybe even a little bit before then. But the women's pure title tournament actually started at Death Before Dishonor. In the preview and predictions, I somewhat lied to y'all. I do have Sting and Darby as my tag team champions. They ain't putting the title. I could have put Sting in here, but I'm putting Brian in. Fuck it. I somewhat lied to y'all because I said that the title tournament was supposed to start, but is not starting due to several injuries. And that is what Tony Khan said. Tony Khan said that in the media scrum previewing Death Before Dishonor. And then the day happens, and the tournament starts, and Queen Aminata advanced in the first round, and Deonna Purrazzo came out afterwards to confront her, kind of, shaping up a potential opponent because they could face off in the second round. But these matchups that happen tonight are not in the tournament. A, are not in the tournament, and B, when I talked about this tournament getting hyped up since February, since January, since whenever the hell they started it, the main matchup, the first matchup, the matchup to hype all this up was Queen Aminata and Serena Deeb, who are both in this tournament, and I guess they somewhat forgot about it unless they face off in the finals, which I don't really expect. As another person that is also in this tournament is Trish Adora, who is in this second Pure Rules matchup taking on Ashley Vox. We get a face-to-face with Trish Adora and Deonna Purrazzo because they are first-round opponents, and Lee Moriarty is out here, and, it's kind of a fitting sequence because he's a pure champion, and that is their goal here in this tournament that is taking place. We get an immediate rope break by Adora. Then Vox uses her first rope break after being stomped on the arm and stomped on several times. Adora applies a double hammerlock in the center of the ring to pick up a very quick victory, which is not something you normally see in Pure Rules matches, but a dominant performance nonetheless. Alex Zane takes on Johnny TV next in a matchup that was somewhat fun. We get a thumb to the eye after the Code of Honor by Johnny TV, and then more damage is done to Zane on the outside by the MXM Collection and Taya Valkyrie, who I feel the last time I talked about this and Taya doing an outside interference, she did the same thing where the opponent is on the apron, like backed up on the apron, and she just cross bodies onto them, which I imagine does a lot of damage. Zane eventually does a dive onto MXM on the outside just to be caught with a Johnny TV super kick. We get a cutthroat driver by Zane, but the referee is distracted when the MXM Collection, I believe it was Mason Madden, sprayed, and I'm saying this in quotation, seed into his face as Johnny TV picks up the victory there, which is the same way that they won at Death Before Dishonor as well. Jordan Oliver takes on the Beast Mortos next. We get a fast-paced start that turns very vicious with Mortos chops, clotheslines, and kicks. We get several crossbodies by Oliver. Mortos lands a headbutt and a pop-up Samoan drop for a 2 count. We get a pop-up cutter by Oliver that gets a 2 count. Then the Beast Mortos applies the torture rack into a backbreaker and then delivers a paw driver, or as I call it, an awful waffle, to pick up the victory. Beef and LSG team up to take on Hechicero and Lance Archer, which, they're two members of the Don Callis family. And they're I would like to see this as a more so regular tag team. I wonder what happened to Lance Archer's former tag team partners. I'm saying the Righteous. I'm trying to be ominous, but I just dropped to what I'm referring to. Archer and Beef start the matchup off with no Code of Honor. While there are frequent tags, the whole matchup favors the Don Callis family members, and they win after a Hechicero running powerbomb. One more Pure Rules matchup. Matt Mako taking on Josh the Goods Woods. Mako uses his first rope break attempt after a leg lock and is issued a warning for a closed fist. We get a leg lock into a German suplex by Woods. Mako misses on a spinning heel kick. We get a forearm exchange between the two, and then Woods hits his Anarchy suplex into the corner with himself picking up a victory. Aaron Solo takes on Hologram next. Solo attacks after the Code of Honor and keeps it going, even ripping at the mask of Hologram. And then Hologram does a dive to the outside and later delivers a lot of spins on this, Blue Thunderbomb to pick up the victory, as it is now time for the last matchup to discuss. A proving ground bout with our world champion Bandido versus Lee Johnson. Immediate attack after the Code of Honor, while also seeing a distraction by Blake Christian on the outside, gives Johnson the advantage early. Bandido attempts the 21 plex, but Christian grabs onto his partner's arms while they're on the rope. We got a pop-up cutter by Bandido, and he follows it up with a X-knee that you could hear the schmack on as Bandido picks up the victory, but does not get to celebrate for long, as Blake Christian hits him with the lethal injection and holds up the Ring of Honor World Championship to end the second of 2 ROH episodes this week. Thing 1. If Blake Christian ever becomes the Ring of Honor World Champion, y'all will not hear me talk about Ring of Honor anymore. I'm not reviewing Blake Christian era Ring of Honor. I'm just not going to do it. I think that would be I have a lot of drawing points. That is kind of very close to the top of the list. That's thing 1. Thing 2. Brody King. Please come back to ROH and at least have one more matchup that I could discuss and review on the channel. I would very much love for Bandido to have an AEW Tag Team title match on ROH TV. I know it probably won't happen. It's wishful thinking. I at least want Brody King to appear. Give a Gonzo bomb to Blake Christian. He just attacked your tag partner. Please. I met Brody King. I almost said Blake Christian. I have not met him. I don't want to. But I met Brody King at a ROH show once, and he was very nice, and I've been a fan before that, during that, and even after that. I'm blabbing on. Now, something that I do need to blab on about is next week's episode. because they did mention several times through the YouTube special that next week the matches that we will see will be taking place from the Action Dean tribute event that is taking place this weekend following Collision. I believe they're doing a live episode of Collision and taping Action Dean matches. Probably, maybe some before, but definitely probably a lot of them after that. So next week's ROH TV will have matches from that show. I will also tell y'all this now, forewarning. Don't really expect a early ROH TV review next week because the Green Bay Packers play on Thursday Night Football, and my attention will be there. So I'm glad to film this ROH TV review because, like I said, it is a crazy ass week for me. I'm glad I was able to squeeze enough time in to do all of this. Hopefully the upload process goes well. If you're hearing this, it did. Hopefully you enjoy your weekend. I still got a lot of other stuff to do. Enjoy football if you're going to watch it. Enjoy whatever the hell else you're going to do if you're not watching it. I'll see y'all when I see y'all because I'm out for now. Goodbye.